Artspace thanks you so much for the opportunity to bring your art to this greater audience. But we're going to talk a little bit about you now, who grew up in Chicago. And were you influenced by the iconic and cutting-edge architecture of the city you grew up in?
I didn't know I was. That's the thing about growing up in good architecture. That's what Thomas Jefferson said, that good architecture helps you to become a better citizen, a better individual. And I just took it for granted. This is what a big city is supposed to look like. And so I got used to beautiful buildings and wide boulevards and great museums, and I think that's what the city should look like. I would also like to say that I think Richmond follows that. Richmond is much smaller. However, Richmond is a beautiful city and has wonderful museums, and the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts is first rate.
Now, you went to Northwestern, and when you were there studying for your degrees, who were your mentors?
Well, sorry to say they're all dead. Of course, they were quite a bit older than I. But anyhow, J. Carson Webster was the one who really taught me to look at architecture. He said to me, of course he was my advisor for my dissertation, and he said, "Well, now you know, Miss Flynn, you will have to illustrate your dissertation." Well, yes, said I thought, yes, I would. Dummy didn't even think about what that was going to mean. And then all of a sudden, I realized I was going to have pictures of all these structures that I was talking about in the dissertation. So how am I going to get the pictures? Nobody was making those pictures. So that's when I got into photography. I had to buy a camera and go photograph these buildings. So I did that. I bought a Canon regular camera and a wide-angle lens and a telephoto lens, and off I went to photograph. And I went to the University of Kentucky, and I thought, well, sometime I'll go ask the chairman of the Department of Photography what I'm supposed to do with this. And he couldn't believe that this nut was coming in to ask him such. So he said, go out and photograph 2 rolls of film. Take them over to such and such a place and have them develop them, and then bring them back and we'll talk about it. So I did that. And when I brought them back to him, that's when he looked at them and he said, how did you know how to take these pictures? They're excellent. Oh, said I, very good, I'm fine. And I said, the architecture told me what picture to take. And that's when I learned that architecture talks to you and tells you what angles to take, what pictures you can take. And it taught me how to compose a picture. So I'm grateful to architecture.
So when did you start exhibiting and taking your photos as to the next level, as art that you wanted people to look at?
When I was teaching, and I exhibited with the faculty. And then a faculty member, a friend, suggested that I join Artspace, and she's the one, Jackie Wall is her name. And Jackie got me started in Artspace, and I was in Artspace when I was still living in, out of the city.
Okay, so a lot of your photos are records of your travels, your extensive travels, and I just wanted to ask you, have you been to every continent?
No.
And which one have you not been to?
Antarctica.
I thought that might be the one. But all the others?
I don't really think I've done South America. I've been to Mexico. but that doesn't really count, I don't think, in South America. And I have not been to Australia, I'm sorry to say.
But I know you have been to extensive travels, especially in Europe and in Asia also. Now, being that you're so involved with architecture and it's had such an impact on your life, how do you think people, ordinary people, are affected by the architecture that they live with every day?
That's a marvelous question. That's a very philosophical question. And it would take a J. Carson Webster to answer that. It would take I.M.K. to answer. And I'm neither of those two. You are affected by the space in which you operate, by for instance, the width of the door that you go through, and the height of the ceiling, and how much area you have to move in, and whether things are closing in on you or whether they're wide open spaces. So that's important, how you treat space, how it feels to you. And so architecture determines that.
The auction of your work is going to benefit Artspace, which is a nonprofit gallery, and the Richmond SPCA. Now, who is the pet that you're honoring by giving this donation to the SPCA?
Well, I'll have to say that I am honoring Orpheus. He was my black pussycat. And Orpheus came to visit me in my yard, and he sat at the very back hedge. And I saw him there, and I spoke to him and said hello, and he just stared at me. And finally, I began to put some food out for him, and he enjoyed it if I left. In the end, Orpheus slept in my bed. So that's how we became friends. And then I had another pussycat, Leia, who died recently, but she really wasn't my cat. She was the general's cat, my husband's pussycat. But she and I got along fine. And she was sweet. The joy of a pet is unequaled in any other experience that you have. And both Orpheus and Leia were sweet to me. They were good to me. And it was wonderful to come home and open the door, and to see Leia sitting there in front of me, waiting for me to come. And then she would come and get in my, after she had her dinner, she would come and sit in my lap for a little bit. I would stroke her a little bit, and that was fine. And then when she had enough, she'd get up and go her way, as pussycats will do. But they bring a joy to your life, and pets are, well, they're family, as they say. So the SPCA, taking care of animals, it's not only a duty, but it's a right that we have, and a way to show love for God's creatures. And the SPCA is a vital, important aspect of caring for animals. And animals deserve our attention, they deserve our care, and I just admire them and the work that they do. That's the thing that, and they're very creative in how they take care of animals and how they find animals to be cared for. Artworks performs a function for the entire community, as does Artspace. But Artworks is a little bit different. And people come into Artworks and they see things that are available to them. They can meet artists and they can buy the pictures right then and there on the spot. They don't have to wait for a special exhibition, although Artworks has several special exhibitions. But Glenda has done a fantastic job with Artworks, and it's a major contribution to the whole Manchester area and to Richmond itself. So I think that Artworks is, well, anyhow, I'm very much proud to be able to have said that I had an exhibition. I've had several exhibitions at Artworks, and I'm very pleased with them. I had a good time while I was doing it. So if you come to Artworks, you should enjoy it. It's a fun place to be, as is Artspace and Plant Zero. The whole area down here is a fun place to be, and that's what you should look for when you come here.
Well, we thank you so much for thinking of us and the Richmond SPCA for this event, and we're very excited about bringing your work to this audience to be seen.
So tell me what you're doing. When is it going to be and how are you going to do this?
Well, it's going to open on September 28th here at Plant Zero. You're in the hallway, and all of the work is going to be available to be bid on a silent auction. And then we're going to culminate with a big party on October 20th, when we'll find out whose bids were accepted for the work and celebrate your career with some beverages and a pet-friendly event.
Oh, that's right. You're going to have the pets.
Absolutely.
That'll be great. That'll
Okay.
be a lot of fun. And I hope people come. I hope they enjoy it. And what I think, and you as artists also feel, that to have someone take your work home with them, and that they can see what you saw, and maybe more than what you saw, every day of their life. That's what art is for. It's not necessarily for the museums. It's great in the museums. It's wonderful in the museums. But art belongs in your home, and it belongs with your the whole ambience of the way you live, the way you think, and what you look at. And when I awaken in the morning and I look up and I can see one of my pictures and I can see a picture by Sergio De Haven, which is in my bedroom, I can look up and say, isn't life wonderful? Look at these beautiful, imaginative works. Mine, Santa's, Dana's, and all the rest of them from Artspace, who are first-rate artists. And that's another thing about Richmond that is important, that there are first-rate artists in this city, and they should be supported, and people should buy their works of art and put them on your walls and get up in the morning and say, isn't that beautiful? That's my 2 cents worth.